But he says it like that, fentanyl.
Oh.
It's just like, it's ridiculous. Anyways. Oh, my neck. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome to the Speedballin Recovery Podcast. I am your host, the Professor, alongside my co-host, the Pharaoh himself, Josh. How we doing, Josh?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
As per usual. I don't think you're ever going to say anything different, are you?
Maybe next episode.
Maybe now that I pointed it out?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. Anyhow, welcome to Speedballin. We have plenty of decent subjects prepared for the day. We have a bunch of different drinks on the table as well. I had my first Celcius ever right before I started recording here, so that was, whew, man, I am feeling it, and I'm supposed to have another one on the air.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to break into that second 200 milligram drink.
So we're gonna do that out of the gate then.
Yeah.
All right, we're doing the Oasis vibe.
Well, which one do you want to drink hot?
The watermelon.
Okay, well then the Oasis. That's the one you want to go with. Then.
All right, trigger warning. There we go. Let's see how this tastes. I think Dean wants a taste too. Ooh, that tastes pretty delicious. See, what I don't understand is how this is supposed to burn body fat.
By starting up thermogenesis.
Still sounds like bullshit.
Well, niacin spikes thermogenesis too. That's why if you drink like a C4, you feel like you've got hives or something, and you get really flush.
Oh.
Yeah. It just makes you run hotter, I guess.
Like your temperature, body temperature?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should make myself a human water engine instead. Then I'll get killed.
Yeah, you could do that.
At the risk of getting Clintoned.
Like everybody else who discovered it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so what's today's step 10, right?
Today is step 10 in our 12-part series on the steps. So step 10, what is it, Josh?
It's continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
Yes. Now that's something you kind of have to just consistently do throughout daily life, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't do it all the time, because in theory, right, you do the first 9 steps.
Right.
And that's cleaning up the entire wreckage of your past.
Mm-hmm. The disaster.
Yeah, steps 10, 11, and 12 they're called maintenance steps by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And by doing 10, 11, and 12, you are basically ensuring that you'll never have to do another 4th step,
Right. I understand that too. It's interesting you say the word maintenance related to it, because in the stages of change, pre-contemplation, contemplation, and it's pre-contemplation, contemplation, consideration, I think. There's another C word in there. And then there's the action stage and then the maintenance stage. And once you get to that maintenance stage, especially in addiction, sometimes what can happen is if you stop doing the maintenance stage, there's a 6th step right there, and it's prelapse.
Yeah, that's the prelapse.
Yeah, you're
not to be confused with prolapse.
Yeah, exactly. But it relates directly to the stages of change at the maintenance level. So you got to be constantly taking inventory, and I've been doing a little bit more of that lately, just especially hanging around my Catholic group, because I'm all right, these people don't even swear a lot, at all.
Yeah, and I don't think we've sweared yet.
I said the S word, but that's not terrible. I haven't said the F word.
Okay, yeah, we're trying to not swear.
Yeah. But point being, they don't really even swear a lot. I don't swear a lot, or I swear a ton, I mean. Usually it's me breaking the rules. Like,
Yeah. I mean, like when we first started this, I was trying not to swear, and then as soon as you dropped the F-bomb, that was it, man. I opened the floodgates. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah, that's just a part of like who I am too. Like, just where I'm from, the way I grew up, the F word just puts emphasis on everything.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. It's just like taking that inventory isn't like, oh, I cursed, I have to say I'm sorry to you. No, it's just like, because I speak that way, I also speak with like a sarcastic tone that they don't really speak with, and I'm like, I'm hoping you get it, but at the same time, I kind of know they don't, or maybe one of them does for sure. But like, you know, I'm constantly like battling myself and like trying to not self-judge at the same time, because I like to be unequivocally myself, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's going to come with a couple of abrasive insults. So, but not to be insulting, but to be friendly.
Right. Yeah.
So I walk the line there.
Yes. Yeah. I know a lot of people that do step 10 as like a nightly inventory.
Right.
And I have never once done the nightly inventory.
Yeah, me either, honestly. I mean, my only daily and nightly things are prayer, and I don't really do an inventory.
Yeah.
But if something like if something's standing out, I'll.
Yeah. No, I do. I started doing this like subconsciously. Like I didn't know that I was doing it. I just kind of like tried to understand. So it's like any time that I'm feeling bad, like I'm upset, I'm frustrated, anything like that, I like will stop and I'll be like, okay, why? You know, like with work stuff, how I was telling you,
Josh's method for getting
yeah, no, I was talking about the like they've been sending me to calls where customers are expecting me to come out and do treatments, and that's not what I do, because they call in, they're like, hey, I'm seeing roaches, I need somebody to come and spray the inside of my house. And then I show up and they're like, so where's like the sprayer? And I'm like, oh, I don't do that, you know. But anyways, after a certain amount of these calls, I'm starting to get frustrated with the call center that's sending me out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, why am I getting frustrated? The deal is because it's like I don't have the ability to help these people, for one. For two, it's not my job. For three, I feel like what they're doing is because sending me out on an inspection, they have an incentive for that. I don't know if they get paid per time I go out or whatever. But anyways, so what they're doing is they're taking people's problems and trying to fly under the radar and make a couple extra dollars because they don't care that they're sending me somewhere that it's upset. And my job,
they don't have to deal with it too.
Right. And my job is to go out there and try and sell pest control. So showing up to somebody who's upset with something, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a whole list of different reasons why I'm upset about it.
Yeah, but I mean the basics of it is they're sending a salesman out to do a tech's job, or when they're expecting a tech to spray. At least the customer is.
Yeah. The customer's expecting a tech, and they're sending a sales guy.
Yeah.
And the call center knows that they're doing this. Now,
bastards.
Like I'm upset about it because this is happening all the time. I feel like they're wasting my time, which, you know, they are. But, you know, I kind of do an inventory on it. Okay, well, this is why I'm upset about it, you know, like, and I can't make them stop. So it's outside of my control. You know, they're wasting my time. So, you know, I'm taking it personal. This is my time they're wasting.
Exactly. You could be doing a podcast instead.
Or I could be doing my job, you know. But, you know, and then not only that, fear creeps in. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble because my conversion rates are going down.
Right.
So, you know, once I evaluate that, I'm like, okay, I'm being fearful. I have expectations of them to actually do their job correctly. Which, you know, that's a reasonable expectation, but it's still an expectation. Not everybody does the right thing. So
that's a fact.
Yeah. So I'm resentful. I have expectations. I'm fearful. And then now that I know that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm taking it personal too.
Right.
Well, for one, these guys are in call centers, and they don't select Josh. They type in the zip code, and then Josh comes up because I'm assigned to that zip code. So if this is happening to me, like, I sit down and I process it. You know, this is happening to me. It's probably happening to a whole bunch of people. Now I'd get to decide whether this is a hill that I want to die on and take it to my supervisor, or if I just wait for someone a little bit less reasonable than me to go to the supervisor about it.
Right.
Either way, with time, it's going to work out. So it's like, okay, I've decided I need to practice patience. You know, so that's kind of how I do. That was a long kind of roundabout way of explaining how I do my inventories, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, or if I'm upset because somebody died, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to think of it.
Yeah.
So taking inventory doesn't always happen in the moment, but when you catch yourself angry, upset, or something like, you know, negative, that's when I'll catch myself pretty early on feeling those emotions, and I'll take a step back and go, all right, what the fuck's happening here? Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
But shorter. And, you know, something else to be said about just even working the steps and being in Alcoholics Anonymous and being part of the program and being in recovery is there's a certain social stigma that comes with it, correct?
Yeah. Well, being in recovery and being an addict or being an alcoholic, there's a social stigma that's attached to that because, I mean, who doesn't know a scumbag drunk or crackhead that's, you know, screwed you over or robbed your Nana, you know?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
When Nana gets robbed, it's probably by a crackhead.
More than likely.
I mean, they could do meth too.
Maybe.
But yeah, so there's a social stigma behind it. A lot of people get upset, you know, at addicts and things like that. But dealing with that social stigma, I really don't have a problem with it because it's not like I'm on the rooftop screaming like, yo, I used to sniff fentanyl, you know. I just go about trying to be a good person, and then if it arises, you know, like somebody's like, oh, hey.
Well, I just want to go up on the roof and shout, I fucking love coke. Oh, damn it.
Too much, though.
I said the F word.
Twice. You said it one time, that was when I went like this.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, well. But I was just thinking, what if I just got on the roof and said, I love cocaine? That would be
that would probably
not go over well.
No, that would definitely fuel the social stigma.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that guy's nuts. It must be the cocaine he loves.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you know. I mean, I don't do that anymore. So
yeah.
At the end of the day, the way I've dealt with social stigma, because I've been super open about my recovery in the last 9-10 months, however long it's been, that I've made some new friends at church that aren't in the program. You know, obviously with people within the program, it's like we all know what's up.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to get along with people in the program. But outside of the program, there's like people obviously have kind of a, oh, you do this kind of thing? That's there's some sort of judgment happening in their head.
Right.
Which is fine.
That's the way I normally deal with it is I don't really, you know, advertise the fact that I'm an addict. I just try and do, you know, I try to be a good person. And then when I get to know people, I'll let them know that I'm an addict.
Yeah.
You know, because then they have like a positive association. They're like, oh, that guy Josh used to do a bunch of fentanyl. But I mean, like, he gave me $5 because I needed it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing is, like, in my church group, I started out as, I'm still probably considered to be early on in recovery, I guess. I don't know what the standard would be. I think, like, under a year, I guess you could just say early.
You know, man, That's a pretty funny point. My dad just celebrated 25 years, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, back when I had like 1 year, 2 years, I looked at these guys with like 10, 15, 20 years, and I was like, they must have it all together. He's like, now that I got 25 years, I'm still just figuring it out. So I like that. When are you not early in recovery anymore?
Yeah. What's the cutoff date?
Yeah.
Is there a certain point in time we can be like, all right, that's not early recovery anymore?
Right. I don't know. I think you never really lose newcomer status.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, and that's the way to stay healthy too.
Yeah.
Is if you keep the same attitude that you had coming into the program 10 years into the program.
Yeah. See, that's it's one of those recovery paradoxes, or let's just go with a life paradox.
Yeah.
Like when do you become an adult? When you find out that you never grow up. You know?
Exactly. It's all a lie.
Yeah.
Don't grow up, children.
That's how you grow up. When you're like, oh, I'm never going to grow up. Now you're an adult.
Yep. It's like, when does it ever start to matter? Never.
Boom. Now it matters.
Yeah. Like I think they did that joke in American Dad. Steve's like, oh man, I'm in high school now. I just got a bad grade. And then Klaus speaks up. He's like, you're in high school. It doesn't matter. He's like, that's what you said about middle school. When does it start to matter? And both Stan and him go, never. It's
never really matters.
It never really fucking matters. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. So dealing with the stigma, the experience I've had with it so far, because I've been outspoken about it, it's been easy because not to give myself too much credit here, but I'm pretty good at like talking to people, and like I won't just drop a bomb on them. I'll be like, I'm doing this to better myself, and this is why. Like that's usually how the conversation ends up going.
You've got healthy communication and coping skills, so it's easier for you to talk to people about it. Not only that, but I mean, like, you're clean cut, you're fit, you're still relatively young, so you got a very trustworthy look to you.
Ah, yes, I'd trust me.
I would trust you.
With what though?
I don't know, a lot.
Oh, all right, cool.
If I was like, hey, will you hold this briefcase with $10 million in it for me? I would expect there to still be at least $9 million in there.
Only 9?
I'm offended now.
That's a choice.
Yes.
But yeah, dealing with stigma is not terrible. Because I thought it was going to be hard at first. Really, the interesting thing that I probably mentioned this on the podcast before, because coming into like very early stages, like month 1, week 1, whatever the fuck, coming at that stage, I knew I had a problem with, addiction, substance abuse. That was easy for me to admit. I was like, my life is like taking inventory at that time was like, I have no money. I'm in debt. I'm in all the bad things were happening. And I'm like, all right, so that's easy. That's an easy inventory to take. I can admit that I have a problem. Boom. What was hard was the mental illness factor, because it's a labeled disease.
Right.
So like my parents were struggling with that the most, because in a rehab facility with doctors, they're like, this is a mental illness. This is part of being an addict. And, coming to terms with that, like that I might have to take antidepressant medication. I was resistant to that at first, but I lasted like a month or not even a month. And then I was like, all right, fuck this. This is a little too emotionally stabby, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I just charged it to the game. I was like, things are going to be a bummer for a little while.
Yep. I mean, I knew that too, but my ups and downs were so freaking nuts.
Yeah. I think I told one of the doctors, I was like, listen, you put me on a mood stabilizer, right? Sure, I won't get so bummed out, but you're going to be taking those high highs away from me. And that's why I did drugs.
Exactly.
For high highs. Let me ride that for a little bit.
It's my last ride. That's the last wave.
Yeah.
But that was the hardest thing to admit, was mental illness, because there's also I had mental illness, depression with a side of ADHD that was undiagnosed for a long time. So,
and part of being part of like being an addict or struggling with addiction is you have like an ego complex. It's like, I can't be mentally ill.
Right.
I'm not standing on the side of the road like screaming at the tops of buses and doing karate. Throw back to karate.
Episode 1.
Karate bus man. Yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm not mentally ill. And for a long time, even though I have like family in recovery and I've been around it for a long time, I still really didn't think it was a mental illness, and I didn't think it was a disease. And it's like this time around, I finally have come to that realization. It's like, it's like Karate Bus Man does see those people he's yelling at.
Yeah.
So he doesn't think he's crazy either.
Yeah, it's a delusion. It's the disease talking.
Yes.
The disease is so much more powerful than I originally thought. Mm-hmm. And when it was put into those terms and it was brought into that perspective to me in my rehabilitation facility, I was like, it was eye-opening. Like, the psychology was what I was like, oh my gosh, this is how my brain is working right now. It's trying to defend its own shitty decisions. So, like, by doing all these pulling out these defense mechanisms of like over-explaining and justifying behaviors and blaming it on others. Like, no, it's not my fault. Avoiding things. Avoidance was a big one.
Rationalization too.
Rationalization was a huge one.
I like that. You ever seen The Big Book? In The Big Book, there's a definition of rationalization in one of the stories, and it's usually using socially acceptable reasons for socially unacceptable behavior.
There you go.
And I was like, damn, that's good.
That's fucking perfect right there.
Yeah.
That
both just cussed. I'm gonna need a cuss counter.
Just a fuck meter right there.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
You only get one F word, and then it's not PG-13 anymore.
It's 2.
Oh, it's 2 now?
It's always been 2, actually. So what happens is you get 1 fuck in PG-13 movies, and it can stay there. As soon as you hit the second one, it's an R. But then there's like a certain amount of shits and ass that you can say.
Yeah. Is there a word that like immediately sends it to R?
Nudity. It's not really a word, but like any nudity would just send it straight up.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of like the only thing I could think of.
Except for man butt.
Except for man butt for some reason. That's,
woman butt, R.
Yeah.
Man butt.
That was the funniest thing in the Fallout series. A buddy of mine was like asking if there was like a bunch of like nudity or sex in it, and I was like, not really, because I just watched the whole Fallout series. And in the first episode, there's a sex scene, but it like you don't see anything except for man butt, and I was like, that's the only thing you see. And I said that to him, and then I completely forgot that like 3 episodes later, there's an entire cultish scene with like everyone's topless in a vault. And I was like, oh, whoops. Forgot about that one.
You sent that Catholic guy right to Sin Town.
My bad. I forgot about it. But, like that's the weirdest thing. I don't understand why they deem that acceptable, but
I don't know. But back to dealing with the social stigma. Yeah. I guess the best way I can sum it up is, like, I didn't tell them I was in recovery during my job interview, but when I was asked about, like, hey, whenever the company car thing came up. And
that's right, yeah.
He's like, why are you using the company car after your last appointment? And I'm like, oh, because I go to AA meetings. I'm in recovery. And if I'm working a little late, then I'll go to a meeting on the way home because I don't have enough time to go get my car and come back.
Right.
And he's like, oh. He's like, well, we don't want you to stop going to those. I was like, yeah, me neither.
That was a wicked smart move, by the way.
Yeah, because by then I had been working there for a few months, and I was doing well. I was retaining all the information, and the first time he asked me a question, I was completely honest with him.
Yeah.
So that probably, that's a good positive, that he's probably like, oh, okay, well, I mean, Josh probably was an alcoholic.
I think the honesty part for all us alcoholics, like, because it makes us like super completely 100% ownership and honest with people, I think that's like a tool that could be used to fight the stigma.
Yeah.
Because honesty, like, I've noticed something about honesty in my recovery that I don't lie anymore, and which, it's way easier not to lie. But in addiction, obviously, I was throwing lies left and right just to throw my parents off my trail, throw the family off the trail, whatever, to hide bullshit from whoever I was doing. But now I'm like being 100% honest. Like I have nothing on my shoulders anymore.
Yeah.
And that honesty, I feel like, translates to people. Because me telling my story to it's interesting. I told my story to a guy in Exodus who was like in his 70s. And at the end of Exodus, he told me, he's like, your openness and your willingness to tell your story and your honesty inspired me to be honest about my story and my life and just open up a lot more. And I was like, awesome. That's exactly why I tell it. Because if we're battling the stigma, because I'm an honest, decent person now, I would say that's a good thing. And now I have like another friend of mine that can open up to me because I'm super open about it. So I got to get used to being the guy who's confided in a lot. But
yeah, when you said that about the 70-year-old guy, I was really expecting you to follow it up with, and then he leans forward and tells you in the Korean War that he burned a village down.
Not quite.
No.
Not quite. But yeah, it's not for my career path anyway, which is interesting. Yeah, I got to move on here, but
no. Oh, yeah.
Just needed a refresher. I can throw that in the middle. There. But for my career path and stuff, becoming like wanting to work in recovery facilities and as a therapist potentially or a psychologist, which is what I want to do. Like being open and honest about that is probably like out of the gate, not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
But other than that, I would say like do it the Josh way.
Yeah, don't mention it in the job interview, but mention it in a reprimand.
Yeah, use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Weaponize that honesty.
Like you told me that, I was like, that was fucking smart. Holy shit, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, along with the stigma of being in recovery. Being in recovery makes you long for a sense of control, right? So like when you're in addiction, your life is out of control. You don't have any control. And honestly, in real life, even without the drinking and the drugs, which are a symptom of the mental illness, you're not always in control of things anyway. So but getting more control over your life is kind of where we're trying to go, I think.
I don't, I'm not really one to speak on the whole control thing because I don't know when it happened, but it happened a long time ago when I realized that I'm just along for the ride. You know? Like there's the victim mentality where the world is happening to you.
Being a liberal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of liberals that are living in that victim mentality. But, that's like realizing that you're not in control without also being a victim to the circumstances. I don't know when it happened, but somehow I just naturally fell into that happy medium. Like, it's like I don't have control over nearly anything at all. Other than my actions, I try to control my emotions to the best of my ability, using stuff like step 10. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just like it. I think that's part of the third step, giving it to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the surrender part.
Yeah.
Piece. That I can relate to that totally.
Yeah.
Because in my life, it was like that sense of control. I've surrendered it to God. Yeah. So it's surrendering. Like when I was getting denied jobs, when I was looking for jobs, if I got denied, I'm like, God didn't want me to have it. At first, it was harder to just say that and not think about it. But as I continued to train myself to think that way, it got a lot easier.
But I mean, like, and the thing is about that whole thing, when I remember that, like, you were applying for all these jobs, and a lot of them were really good jobs, and some of them were high paying. But the thing is like, you can kind of look at the whole confirmation bias, because now where are you at? You're getting ready to work in a field that's going to help further your recovery and help you spread the message of recovery.
Right.
So, you're going to be able to help people, which is more gratifying, and you're going to be able to get more hours and a better schedule with 3 days off a week, which I'm super jealous about because I work 6 days. And, it's just like you're at where you're supposed to be at, and it seems like, that's kind of a confirmation on that.
Yeah.
It's like things like you keep an open mind and you surrender control of everyone else, and shit just seems to work out.
Yeah.
It just seems to. It's like there's no, like, I don't care if you're religious, you're not religious. Even people that are like complete atheists, like, they seem to have that experience in recovery. They're like, well, the only thing I can control is me. It's like, okay, you've figured that out. It's like, yeah, things are just working out. Well, it just seems to happen. It seems that things work out.
And it's interesting because when you're in that moment of addiction, trying to control things, or even if you're out of addiction and still just trying to control things, and you're not surrendering per se, like, everything seems to go wrong because you're seeking the one outcome when you're looking for that control.
Yeah.
And when you don't get that one outcome, it's devastating.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I just worked my whole entire life around getting this one outcome, and it didn't happen. Like, for example, this one job that I absolutely wanted, and it didn't work out. They told me no. Oh, no, my life is crumbled. Or another example. Oh, I asked out this girl, got rejected, and I built myself up to do that. Now my whole entire life is crumbling before me. When in reality, what you need to do is just, when you ask those things and you get denied, because it's easier when you don't have expectations.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to mention that. It seems like the more you try to control stuff, the more expectations you subconsciously build, and the harder it is to be happy about it. For example, right? Like, Brittany, she is the type of person that likes to plan things out.
Yeah.
And I am the exact opposite. Right? I was actually speaking with my sponsor about this morning. Like, me and my cousin,
Charlie.
Yeah. We used to, like, whenever we decided to go do something, that was it. It's like, hey, do you want to go to the Springs tomorrow? All right. And then we would wake up. We wouldn't be like, we got to get to the Springs before a certain time, or the line's going to be long.
Whenever.
Yeah. We'll wake up and we'll go. Oh, the line's too long. Well, you want to try to go to the other one? If not, then we just drove around all day. And we'll hit the beach on the way home because we lived in Daytona, So we would go, get to the Springs. It's on the way to the Springs. It's like, do we need gas to make it there? Yeah. You think we should pick up water while we're there? Sure. Whereas a lot of people would be like, okay, we're going to the Springs tomorrow. We got to wake up at like 6 or 7 so we can beat the crowd. We got to stop at this gas station so we could get gas. It's one of the cheapest places. We got to get water, food, all this stuff. And then, you get to the gas station and they raise the gas rates, or it's your weekend, so you snooze your alarm and then there's a long line. Like,
yeah, there's expectations behind those decisions.
Like, I'm waking up early so I don't get this long line. Whereas me and him are just like, all right, we'll go tomorrow. There's a line. Let's go to the beach.
Okay, man.
It's funny because that kind of thing is starting to rub off. Like, the way I am about stuff, like not planning, that's starting to rub off on Brittany. Yeah. She's like, the first time we went over to Clearwater, she had everything planned, and then she kind of freaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then this last time, she was grumpy, but it was because she was like deathly ill before we went.
Yeah.
But, it was funny because we were going there, and she's like, well, what do you want to do for this? I was like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then on the she said it to me last week. I can't remember what it was about. I was like, so what are we going to do about it? She's like, we'll figure it out. I was like, oh, that's right.
My dog.
That's right, baby. We're going to figure it out.
Kind of reminds me of how when I used to go to theme parks as a kid, when my parents would take me, mom's totally a planner. Like, just everything's planned out. But the thing is, like, they're really good at following through with all the plans and making shit happen.
I've never understood that.
Yeah, you know what? Like, but the thing is, like, the few times when things did go wrong, it super sucked, which is the problem. So I'm like, it's great when everything goes right, because it can. It can when you plan.
Yeah.
Rhymes. But at the same time, it's like if any one little thing goes wrong, and then it's a freak out situation.
Yeah, and then it snowballs.
Yeah, then it like you're all downhill from there.
Yeah.
There's no upside.
Like what is it? My cousin's like this, and Brittany's like this. They like to look for the cheapest gas station in town, and then like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's 5 cents more expensive. And I'm like, okay, well, 5 cents per gallon on a 10-gallon tank is 50 cents. Like, when you break it down like that, it's
man.
It's 50 cents. I can't even buy a pack of gum for that. I don't chew gum, but that's just,
Couldn't buy anything for that nowadays.
Yeah.
Who do you want, a fucking gumball?
I mean, like, if you're really good at those quarter machines in Taco Bell, you could win a free burrito.
There you go. But I mean, at that point, you're gambling. So
Yeah.
I'm not gambling with a free burrito. I just want to pay for it.
Oh, man. I'll gamble the 25 cents. I'm actually pretty good at those things.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, like how there's what I'm talking about, the plates that go in a
Yeah,
circle.
all the
Yeah.
levels.
Well, the second to the bottom one, you can drop the quarter on there, and then you give it a little slidey poo, and
A little slidey poo.
yep, and then
Then you just go, yes,
yes, and they give you your burrito, and you're like, nasty.
and then you shit your pants.
But yeah, I mean, the whole longing for control thing, that's just,
It's all an illusion.
it is. It's an illusion. The only thing that you can really control is yourself.
Yeah, and how you react to things.
Yes.
So that's the deal on control, man. All right, on to facing fear of judgment from others. This is an easy one for me, honestly, because I don't give a shit what you think about me. It's just like, I mean, I kind of do, but like I love to be unequivocally myself. And, and it kind of like I'm honest as fuck to a fault, probably. Actually, like my sponsor said that to me when we got in an argument once. He's like, you were real as fuck with me, and that's what I needed. Even though I was mad in the moment, I respect it now. And I was like, trying to work on that because it was a little aggressive at the time. But,
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I don't hold back a lot. And if I find myself having to, I'm kind of like, I just don't even want to be in the situation. I'd rather be comfortable around who I can call my friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty good at it. I do sugarcoat a lot of stuff because, there's a fine line that you got to dance with when you're trying to figure out how to like be brutally honest without being honestly brutal.
Well, in like a professional setting, yeah.
Yeah. You can. It's called tact.
Yeah.
You could figure out a way to tell somebody they're being an asshole without saying, "Hey, asshole."
Yeah. Per my last email.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I don't know. Sometimes I just lose the filter, and it just, the first thing that comes to mind is said, just like the F word.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not afraid of someone's reaction to something I say, because nowadays, especially because I know I'm not going to say anything really stupid. Well, maybe I will, but in a way that like I'm not going to outwardly be offensive on purpose. Like I have enough of a sense to be able to do that. Like I have some common decency, but I feel like I ride the line well.
Yeah, that's another one of those paradoxes, because you can't really care about what people think,
Right.
but at the same time, you got to kind of care about what people think.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a guy, Big Mike. He's dead now, but he used to say, I mean, I guess we already broke the swearing thing. Anytime you bring out a Big Mike quote, you're going to have some cussing.
There you go.
But he said, you know, Josh, if one person says you got shit on your face, fuck them. But if two people say you got shit on your face, you might want to check the fucking mirror.
There you go.
You know?
It's like yeah, that makes sense. If you got one person just kind of like doesn't like you or whatever.
Yeah, fuck
all right,
them.
fine, fuck them. Because if everyone else around them is like still like cool with you,
Yeah.
then whatever. It's just it's their problem, not yours.
Right.
In which case you have no control over it. There's
Right.
that word control again. But if there's like multiple people going, hey, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're losing multiple friends. You know, you're probably being an asshole.
Yeah, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting reprimanded multiple times at work for being late. That's probably because you're fucking late.
Yeah. Well, here's the other line to kind of ride is not being a people pleaser. So, yes, you can lose friends over being too harsh, but then if you're like don't want to face any conflict in life even though you're in the right, then in my opinion grow a pair of balls and just do it.
Yeah. Well, I still kind of struggle with the people pleasing thing, because
Me too.
yeah, my biggest thing was I had absolutely no self-esteem for a really long time, and it's like since I couldn't feel good about myself, I looked for other people to validate that I was good.
External validation.
Yes, like crack.
Crack is whack, man. External validation gets you like legitimately nowhere. So it just because it's like it's temporary relief. So like it's temporary relief because as soon as that person goes away and you're uncomfortable with yourself again, you're back in pain.
Right. Or like when you forget, or when you're on to the next task.
Yeah.
Whereas when you cultivate internal validation and you start getting self-esteem, then it really doesn't matter whether anyone's around or not. You're still all right.
Yeah. So be okay with yourself first, and then you won't have to deal with like the fear of judgment from others. I mean, 'cause that's the weirdest thing. Because I've been outwardly vocal about my recovery, and that was not something that came across my mind. I was just like, I'm just gonna put this out there. There's no reason to hide from it. I don't care. That's who I am. You know.
How much time have we been on?
We've been going for a minute.
Yeah, we still got a whole other.
Excuse me.
We're gonna try and record another episode.
Oh yeah. And it's hot as fuck in this bit.
It is. Well, we're gonna take a 10-minute break. Oh, okay, good. Maybe it's the heat that makes the time move slower. You know?
I think it is
Yeah.
because I was sitting here with Max earlier doing that podcast, and I was like, "Oh my god, this cannot go fast! Like, why is it? Time is crawling right now."
Time's an illusion.
I know that's definitely how it felt then, but anyhow.
That's another one of those things I think is hilarious. Time is an illusion, man. It's like, yeah, but if time was actually an illusion, then like you'd still be a baby.
As the great BMO once said, time is an illusion to help things make sense. That's why we're all living in the present tense.
Yeah. I mean, I think time is just, what do they say? It's the measurement of entropy.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
See, I quoted a cartoon character, you got a scientist, so...
Maybe I should change me to Professor Josh.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
could be Pharaoh Nico.
Pharaoh. I'll be the Sphinx.
You know, what was it? The Sphinx. Sphinx is more eternal. It's been
Yeah.
around for a lot longer.
Exactly. Kitty got claws.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it was funny. My stepbrother asked me, he's like, why does Nico call you the Pharaoh? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's because he asked me how old I was, and he couldn't believe that I was as old as I am. And I was just like, yeah, it's probably because I embalmed myself with all the heroin. You know?
I remember that, too. I was like, that's Just like a pharaoh, just
Yeah.
preserving the body, man.
And then that's when now I'm Pharaoh Josh.
There you go. I like that nickname. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm good at nicknames. Other times, usually it's just offensive.
I'm old enough now to where when people think I'm younger than I am, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, I probably should. Like, like a long time ago, when I was like 18 trying to buy cigarettes, that, because you could buy cigarettes at 18 when I was 18.
Same.
And they were like, let me see your ID. I'd be like, oh. Yeah.
Scoff at him.
Yeah, now it's like the last person to card me for cigarettes back when I still smoked, they're like, oh, can I see your ID? I was like, what, you don't think I'm 18? And they were like, you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes. And they didn't even look at my ID and hand it back.
Oh, well, that's how old you are. Okay.
Yeah. It's like when you're fumbling through your cards and there's a Blockbuster card. They're like, I don't need to see
you're
your
good.
ID. You're good. You're old enough to have a membership to Blockbuster.
Oof. Jeez. You probably got like 10-year-old candy hiding in your closet from that Blockbuster.
Yeah, or at least, 15 to 20 free AOL trials.
You get the free backup discs.
Yeah, well, I got free AOL. I had never paid for it because they used to always have like the AOL discs, and it was like a free trial. So,
But they keep sending them to you.
well, no, I would go into Blockbuster and grab a stack of them, and then I would take them home, and I'd get like the free 50 hours or whatever, which was like downloading 2 songs. And then I would uninstall AOL.
There you go, for the space.
And then reinstall it for the new free trial.
Genius.
Yeah.
If you ever need free AOL, you heard it here first.
Just go back to 1999,
Grab your time machine,
hit Blockbuster.
and then stop 9/11.
Yes.
Speaking of which, Hitler.
Oh, we forgot to do This Week in Hitler last time we recorded.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
But I got it this week.
Yeah.
We just mentioned him this week. That's it.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, on to the review. What are we reviewing this week, good sir?
Okay. Well, for this one, we're going to review
A protein bar.
Pure Protein Chocolate Salted Caramel, which is, I like chocolate. I like salted caramel. The thing is it was 50% off.
Bam.
Normally, when something is in a store and they have like a whole shelf or a basket and it says 50% off, that's because it doesn't sell, and that's because it's gross.
For a reason. But I find it hard to believe that caramel would be...
You know what? I think it's just because it's close to expiration.
Oh, how close?
July 2024.
Okay,
So we've got 2 months.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. But,
It's better than the expired water I gave you.
oh, man, it's gluten-free, though.
Oh, they're going to replace it with something that tastes horrible then.
Yeah. Okay, so let's check this out. Oh, 200 calories? I'm trying to lose weight here. I'm not really trying to lose weight. I'm just trying not to gain. You know what I'm saying?
That's a better way to put it, I guess.
Yeah. Do not open if wrapper is torn. Okay, it was still sealed, which means there's no bad drugs in there.
Bad ones.
Yeah, let's see. Product of Canada. Losing me. Gluten-free, product of Canada, close to expiration. Let's just get into
Canada
this
sucks.
Oh, Justin Trudeau.
Oh, what a dingbat he is.
Yeah, I mean, but you gotta look at his positives, like how he wants to put tampons in the men's bathroom.
I wouldn't really view that as positive, but okay.
I mean, somebody's closed-minded.
Yep.
No, I mean, like, realistically, there's probably some old guy out there that's like, I could use this instead of a diaper.
You plug your asshole.
Yeah, cork the boo hole.
Cork the boom hole.
I think they had the the oxymorphone like dispensers.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know, it's like instead of methadone, you just go to this like little machine. You're like, hey, you know,
Little vending machine
yeah, and it like, you know,
gave you drugs.
hooks you up. You're like, no withdrawal for 30 hours.
Yay.
Nap time. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
It's actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, and you know what? The heat in here has made the outside chocolate and caramel extra gushy.
Oh, that's a good thing, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Faux show.
Yeah, so I mean, it's delicious. Pure protein.
It's food.
It's food. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a pinch, yeah.
200 calories, not bad. All right. Well, it's a positive review from the Pharaoh. All righty. Well, that's good. That's good. What out of 10?
Yeah, solid 6.
A solid 6? In a pinch. Okay. We'll call that acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I also think we can call that acceptable for a show.
Yeah, and on the next one, how about you review a hot watermelon Celcius?
Okay. Yeah, I will. We'll open with that, and then you'll close with yours.
Okay.
All right. That'll do it for us on the Speedballin Recovery Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Nico, alongside my co-host, the Pharaoh himself, Pharaoh Josh. And I'll leave you with the word of the day, which is hippocampus.
Is that the first time you've done a word of the day that isn't like in eyesight? Nice.